Right religions is a very wonderful way to handle suffering and happiness. Suffering is in us, and happiness is in us in form of seeds. I have a seed of fear, of anger, of jealousy, of despair in me. I have a seed of compassion, of understanding, of joy, of peace in me. Everyone has positive seeds and negative seeds. And right religions is what the Buddha taught to help us to handle these negative and positive seeds. There are 4 steps. The first step is to allow the negative seed in you to sleep. You have a seed of jealousy. You have a seed of anger, of craving in you. Allow them to sleep quietly down there, in the bottom of your consciousness. When you speak about Buddhist psychology, you hear about a kind of consciousness that is called store consciousness. That is the lower part of your consciousness. It has all the seeds, including the seed of anger and fear and love. And the first step is do not allow these seeds to have a chance to come up. Allow them to sleep quietly down there. Never try to water them. Your beloved one has a seed of anger. And if you say something or do something to touch the seed of anger in him or her, your beloved one will suffer and will be possessed by the energy of anger. So you don't do that. You don't say that. You don't do that. You allow the seed of anger in him to sleep quietly. And the seed of anger in you, you allow it to sleep quietly. Do not water them. And do not allow other people to water the seed of anger in you. So in a good relationship, you have to sign a treaty. Darling, you know that I have a seed of anger in me. And if you water the seed of anger in me, I will suffer. And if I suffer, you cannot be happy. So please refrain from saying things or doing things that can touch off the seed of anger in me. That is the first step. And darling, I promise to do the same. I will be careful. I will not water the seed of anger in me. And I will not water the seed of anger in you. You have to sign a treaty, not to water the negative seed in self and in the other. Do not give them a chance, because if they have a chance, they will manifest as energy on the upper part of our consciousness. Our consciousness has at least 2 layers. The lower layer is called store consciousness. And the upper layer is called mind consciousness. And all the seeds are here, down here. The seed of anger, when touched off, will manifest up here as a zone of energy. The energy of anger. So let us not touch that seed in ourselves. Let the other person not touch it. Otherwise, it will come up here. And we have to agree with each other on the first point of practice. We don't listen, we don't watch, we won't do anything that can touch off the seed of anger and fear and craving and jealousy in us. When you drive through the city, when you watch television, there may be publicity that water the seed of fear and anger in you, or craving in you. So you practice the fifth mindfulness training, mindful consumption. Because what you consume might touch the seed of craving, of anger and fear. It's like magazine and television. There are programs of television, articles in magazine that contain so much toxins, craving, fear, anger. And if you read, you consume, you touch off the negative seed in you. That is why you have to get a good policy of consumption. And you have to sign a treaty with the other person. Let us consume in such a way that the items that you consume will not touch off the seed of craving and fear and anger in us. When we go to the market, we use mindfulness in order to know what to buy and what not to buy. And the second aspect of the practice is that if a negative seed has got a chance to manifest up here, do something, try something to have it go home to the original place as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will continue to cause damage up there. Every time the seed of anger and fear or craving manifests, the landscape of the mind is not beautiful, it's not peaceful, and you suffer. That is why you can do something to help the energy of anger, of craving, to go back and sleep again. You do not repress. You do not try to suppress or repress, because that is not good. So the Buddha proposed the practice of changing, replacing. He used the example of a carpenter. The carpenter, in order to connect two pieces of wood, they make a hole and they drive in a peg. So the two pieces of wood stay together. And if the peg is rotten, it's not good, you can use a new peg and drive in. And you take out the old peg and you put in a new peg. That's what they call the changing peg changing. So if a negative seed manifests up here, we can practice changing the peg. We can invite another seed to come up, a seed of opposite nature, because you have a seed of love and compassion down there. Invite it to come up. And when it comes up, the other will withdraw. You don't have to fight. And we do not use packs now, but we can use a CD. If you don't like the CD, you change the CD. If the music is not good, why do you allow the music to continue? You can change your CD. So changing CD is the second second aspect of the practice. And you can help your beloved one to do the same. You know that she is overwhelmed with her anger or fear. You come and you see like that, and you say something to touch off the seed of joy and happiness in her. And in no time at all, that seed manifests as something positive, and the other seed will withdraw. Don't allow her to be under the influence of that negative seed for a long time. No, that's not good for her health, and it's not good for you. So in such a relationship, in a good relationship, not only you have the capacity to change your CD, to have a mental formation to go down as a seed, but you can help the other person to do the same. Down here, it is called a seed. The Chinese is a chung tử. And the Sanskrit is a bija. But when it come up here, it becomes a zone of energy. It's called a mental formation. Tâm hành. In Sanskrit, it's chitta samskara. So you are a good practitioner. As soon as you notice with mindfulness that a negative seed is in you, and you smile to it, and right away you invite another seed to come up. And when the other seed is come up, it can help neutralize this seed, and it can help the other seed to go down. So this store consciousness is like the basement of your house, and this mind consciousness is like the living room. So if you don't like that to be in your living room, bring it down to the basement and have it sleep there. So the first practice is not to give the negative seed in a chance. And if they sleep down here quietly for a long time, they become weaker and weaker and weaker. And if they have a lot of chance to come up down here, they grow and grow and grow. And sometimes you don't invite them, they just push the door and go up. And that is why the first practice is not to give a chance to these negative seeds, the seed of anger and fear and craving and jealousy. The second aspect is to change, to help them to go back as quickly as possible, skillfully, not suppressing, but also replacing. The third aspect of diligence is to give the good seeds a chance. You have a seed of compassion, of understanding, of love. Why don't you give them plenty of chance? And you agree with your beloved one, darling, if you love me, please water the good seeds in me. I have a seed of joy, happiness, peace, forgiveness and compassion in me. If you say something or do something to touch them up, I will be a happy person. And if I am happy, you don't have to suffer. You can profit from my happiness. And you can recognize the good seeds in her or in him, because she does have these good seeds. And in no time at all, you can touch off these wonderful seeds in your beloved one. It may take only a few minutes to make a person happy. And this is the practice called selective watering. You don't water the negative seeds, you only water the good seeds. Many years ago, one couple came from Bordeaux, and that day they gave a talk about watering the seeds. That is a Vesak day, the day of the anniversary of the Buddha. And I noticed that the lady began to cry, and she continued to cry during the Dhamma talk. And after the talk, I went to her husband and said, "Well, your flower needs some watering." So after lunch, they drove home. It took 1 hour to go back to Bordeaux. And in the process of going home, he practiced selective watering. He recognized her virtues, her talents. And when they arrived home, she was completely different. Very joyful, very happy. And the children were very surprised, because in the morning they went offline, not like that. She was crying. So the practice of selective watering can bring effect right away, very soon. It does not take a lot of time. Recognize the good seeds in him, in her, water them. Then you have a happy person in front of you. And the fourth aspect of the practice is that when the good seeds come up, bring a positive energy of joy and peace, try to keep them as long as possible up there. Que la joie demeure. May the joy continue. It is possible. A mental formation of joy, of happiness, of compassion coming up. Try to maintain alive there. Don't let it go down right away. Because if you know how to entertain them up here, down there, they will grow into an important seed. And every time you need, you just touch slightly and they will offer you the energy of joy and peace and happiness. The same thing is true with the negative seed. If you allow them to manifest often and stay too long here, down here they will grow. So this is the ground. This is the basement. And this practice can be described as the practice of transformation at the base. You make the good seeds growing, and you make the bad seeds becoming less important. And this is the meaning of true diligence recommended by the Buddha.